3.8%. That is how much military basic pay went up on the first day of 2026, and a brand new enlisted recruit now earns about $2,400 a month from day one. But here is the part the recruiting poster never frames honestly. That paycheck comes attached to a contract you cannot simply walk away from, and whether that trade is worth it depends entirely on one thing about you.
Hey everyone, Erica here. So let us be square with people from the first second, because this is a decision video, not a sales pitch.
Exactly. So we are going to weigh it the honest way, because the real question hiding under all of this is whether the trade fits the specific person watching.
I'm Alina, and I want to stress test this the whole way through. The benefits are genuine, but they only pay off if you survive the parts that break people.
Fenrir here, and I'll push on every easy answer. Before anyone signs, understand what you are actually signing. Every enlistment is an 8-year military service obligation under Defense Department rules. A common deal is 4 years active, then 4 years you can still be recalled. That is the fine print.
So the honest headline is simple. The good is real and the cost is real, and the military fits some people beautifully and the wrong people miserably.
Let me put the whole decision on the board so we can see both sides at once before we go deeper. Look at it honestly. On the left, a paycheck, healthcare, a college fund, and a pension you can collect young. On the right, a contract, lost control, time away, and genuine risk.
And neither column wins by itself. The whole video is figuring out which column matters more for the specific person watching.
Before we go further, Erica, a question keeps landing under every video like this one. Take it.
Yes, and it is the right one to start with. People keep asking, is joining the military actually worth it, or is that just what recruiters say? We answer that for real today.
So that is our job today. Coming up, the real money, the active versus guard fork, and the part nobody warns you about, the goal step almost everyone skips. First, the pay chart hides more than half of what you actually take home.
Here is the money mistake almost every recruit makes. They look up the basic pay chart, see a modest number, and assume that is what they take home. It is not even close.
Right, because the chart only shows base pay, and base pay is the part the taxman gets to touch. The bigger story is everything stacked on top of it. Base pay is the taxable floor. The allowances bolted onto it are mostly tax-free, and that changes the math completely.
2 allowances do the heavy lifting: housing, which they call BAH, and a food allowance, BAS, set at $476.95 a month for every enlisted member in 2026.
And then healthcare. On active duty, your medical and most of your family's runs through TRICARE, and your out-of-pocket cost is essentially nothing. In the civilian world, that single line is worth a fortune. So the chart number is the floor of your income, never the ceiling. Let me actually build the real monthly package so you can see what stacks up.
Watch it build. Base pay around $2,400. Then housing adds roughly $1,400 more, tax-free. Then the food allowance. Then healthcare that costs you basically nothing. And the package lands far above the chart figure.
Over $4,000 in real value a month for a junior member, and housing scales with your zip code and family size.
Now the honest counterweight, because this is not free. Every dollar there is rented with your time, your location, and your availability 24/7.
That is the fair way to read it. The compensation is genuinely strong, and you pay for it with a level of control over your own life that most jobs never ask for.
So hold both numbers in your head as we keep going. The package is real money, but it is rented money, and that tension is the whole decision in one sentence. Let me pause for just a second, because this genuinely helps. If you are getting value here, hit that like button, then subscribe and ring the bell. It costs you nothing, and it is the single biggest thing that keeps these videos coming. Here is the fork that decides everything for a lot of people, and it is not which branch. It is active duty versus the Guard or Reserve. Same uniform, very different life. So let us actually argue it, with me keeping everyone honest. Erica thinks the full active duty plunge is the stronger play, while Fenrir thinks the part-time door is the smarter first step.
Active duty is the version where the benefits are at full strength. The free healthcare, the housing allowance, the steady paycheck, and the clock toward a 20-year pension all run every single day. If your real goal is a reset, a career, money for college with no debt, active duty hands you all of it at once. You are all in, and the system rewards all in.
And that is exactly the risk. All in means you hand over where you live, what you do, and when you are free for years before you know if it suits you. The Guard or Reserve keeps your civilian life. You drill roughly a weekend a month and a couple weeks a year, you can still get the GI Bill and tuition help, and you keep your job in your town.
Hold on, Fenrir. Doesn't part-time mean part benefits? The full pension and the day one healthcare are not the same in the Reserve.
True, and I will concede it cleanly. The Reserve pension is smaller and starts later, and the healthcare is a paid plan, not free.
That is the real gap. Active duty is the maximum benefit, maximum commitment path, and you cannot half-buy the 20-year pension.
But you also cannot unsign 4 active years if you hate it. The Guard lets you test the water without betting your whole 20s on it.
Then push it back the other way. For the 18-year-old who needs to leave home and have housing, food, and healthcare handled tomorrow, the weekend-a-month path does not solve that, does it?
It does not. If you need a full reset and a roof this year, active duty is the only one of the two that delivers it immediately.
So here is my verdict, and it is not a tie. According to the Defense Department benefit rules both sides just cited, the two paths answer two different questions, and the honest call depends on your situation. What I would recommend is this. If you want maximum benefits and a clean break and you are ready to commit, active duty wins. If you want to keep your civilian life and test service first, the Guard or Reserve wins. Pick the question that is actually yours.
Here is the step almost everyone skips. And skipping it is how people end up 4 years into the wrong job. Decide your goal before you decide anything else.
Right, not the brunch, not the cool job title, not what your friend did. The question is what you actually want this to buy you, because the path falls out of the goal, never the other way around. Goal number 1. College without debt. If that is the prize, the post-9/11 GI Bill gives up to 36 months that can fully cover in-state tuition, plus a housing stipend, and tuition assistance pays up to $4,500 a year while you serve.
Goal number 2. A real career or a trade. So you weigh the actual job you would be trained in, because some skills and a security clearance transfer straight to civilian pay, but plenty of others do not.
Goal number 3. A reset. If you need to get out, get stable, and get structure, then active duty is the one path that hands you food, housing, and a paycheck on week 1, which means it solves the reset that part-time service simply cannot.
Underneath all three sits one more fork, enlisted or officer. Officer means more pay and more leadership, but it generally requires a 4-year degree first, which means for most teenagers enlisting is the realistic door.
Let me turn this into a clean side-by-side so the goal-to-path match is obvious.
Read it straight across. Enlisted is the open door at 18 with hands-on work. Officer pays more and leads, but it asks for the degree before you start.
And neither is better in a vacuum. The right cell is the one that matches the goal you named in step 1, so the mistake is shopping jobs before you know your goal. Elena, there is a follow-up that comes up constantly here. Take it.
Yes, and it is a fair worry. People ask, what if I do not score high enough on the ASVAB to get the job I want? The Army minimum is 31 and the Air Force is 36, but a job can need much higher.
Then you prep and retest, you do not panic. Picture a recruit named Marcus, 18, an Army recruit who scores a 36 and wants debt-free college. His goal points him straight at the GI Bill, so studying up to qualify for the right job is the move, not settling for the first one offered.
That is the whole method. Name the goal, then let it choose the path, the component and the job, in that order, never backwards. So who should actually join? We are not going to tell you what to do, but we will give you the honest verdict framework we would use ourselves. The whole thing comes down to a fit test, not a hype test. There is a profile this is genuinely great for, and a profile that should slow down and look hard at other doors first.
It is a great fit if you have a clear goal and you can honestly accept giving up some control over where you live and what you do for a few years. If you want marketable skills, real structure, or college with no debt, and the loss of control does not scare you off, the package genuinely delivers.
And think hard. Do not rule it out, but think hard. If you have heavy family obligations, a health issue that limits service, or a score gap. The Army minimum on the ASVAB is 31, and the Air Force is 36, so a low practice score is a signal to prep, not to panic.
And here is the honest part a recruiter will not lead with. The military is not the only path to any of these goals, and pretending it is would be lying to you. If college is the goal, civilian school with work, grants, and aid is a real route with no contract attached. The downside is you may carry debt and you lose the housing and healthcare, but you keep total control.
If a fast-paid skill is the goal, trade school gets you earning in a year or two with no deployment risk. The catch is you give up the pension, the GI Bill, and the clearance, but you also dodge the 8-year obligation.
And the middle door we argued earlier still stands. The Guard or Reserve is the lower commitment way to get many of the benefits while keeping your civilian life mostly intact.
Let me lay the 3 honest alternatives next to service so the trade-offs are not hidden. Every one of those is a legitimate choice for the right person, but each one costs you something the military would have covered, so the honest comparison is never free versus not free.
Hold on, do not let anyone rush you off this fork.
Fair point, and worth holding on to. The contract waits for you, so take the time to get the goal right first.
Here's what I would actually tell my own kid. Do not decide on the paycheck or the uniform. Decide on whether the commitment fits the life you want, because the benefits only matter if you can live the contract.
Carry this home. The military is not good or bad, it is a fit. Match it to a real goal you can name out loud, and it becomes one of the best deals a young person can get. Force it, and it becomes the longest few years of your life. Quick recap. The benefits are real, the commitment is real, and the right answer is a fit between a clear goal and a contract you can honestly live.
Tonight, before you talk to a recruiter, write your one real goal in a single sentence. Do that, and future you walks in already knowing which path to consider.
And send this to the friend or the kid who keeps saying they might enlist. One honest rundown saves them from picking on the uniform instead of the fit.
Next, the one people get wrong constantly, which military jobs quietly pay off for decades in civilian life. Wait until you see which list the popular jobs actually land on.
If this gave you a straight read instead of a sales pitch, hit like and subscribe. We keep these pay and benefit numbers current every year so your decision stays accurate.
So here is the one only you can answer. If you are weighing this right now, what is the single goal pushing you towards service, and the one thing holding you back?
Precision is an act of respect for the listener. Be respectful.
Straight up, Emma, that was one of the cleaner episodes of the season. 9.5. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.